Welcome back. This review is on Captain America: A Brave New World, which is the latest review in the ever-growing non-stop MCU. This was directed by Julius Onah, starring Anthony Mackie, Harrison Ford, and Danny Ramirez. Is this movie going to be a much-needed breath of life into the MCU, which has really been struggling for a while with Disney as a whole? Or is it going to be another flop, the likes of Kraven, Morbius, and Madam Web? Let's find out. So unless you've been living under a rock for the past year or so, you have probably seen a trailer for this movie on TV. If you've gone to a theater at all, this movie had the living crap marketed out of it. Between reshoots and add-ons and extra time in production, the budget for this movie alone crossed $380 million. And that's not including the marketing fees, which can sometimes be double the production budget. I'm assuming all told, this movie is going to come right in at about $500 million, which is a lot. And a lot of people in the press have said it's going to be virtually impossible for this movie to actually turn a profit. Should you go see this movie? Is it worth seeing? Is it another disappointing Marvel movie? Or is it actually a glimmer of hope in what has kind of been a failing universe since the Infinity Saga ended? I'm going to try to be really fair and objective. I'm going to say what I liked about this, what I thought was good, things that I didn't like, and stuff that I thought was honestly just a massive failure. This movie has Sam Wilson going from the Falcon, where at the end of Endgame, Steve Rogers left him his shield, and now he is Captain America. And that's very much something that his character has been struggling with. Is he going to be enough? Can he fill the gigantic shoes that Steve Rogers left as Cap? And how is he going to do? He has Danny Ramirez supporting him now as his Falcon. And how are they doing? Also, the movie picks up with Thunderbolt Ross, where William Hurt, who was the previous actor who did play this character in several of the movies, including The Incredible Hulk, where Edward Norton played Bruce Banner, and unfortunately he died in 2022. So Harrison Ford did take up this role as Thunderbolt Ross, where the movie kicks off with him being newly elected as President of the United States. How was the movie as a whole? I'm not going to get into spoilers until later, and honestly, I'm going to keep those pretty minimal, if any. So, for now, if you haven't seen it, don't worry. I'll let you know. I think Harrison Ford was underutilized in this movie. He really kind of carried the emotional scenes. I thought his character was great. Again, you bring in Harrison Ford into a dying franchise, you try to go out with a bang. He can only do so much. We saw that with Indiana Jones. Didn't really go so well, and we're seeing that in this movie. You can see from the trailer, he's the Red Hulk. You find out what happens and the way that he is transforming into this at the very end, where there's kind of the final fight scene. Unfortunately, it was a little bit lackluster. For the most part, I thought Anthony Mackie was good. The action scenes that he was in, and the few main ones, the opening salvo of the movie as well, are not bad. They have the signature Marvel feel. It's getting a little bit tired at this point, I think, but there's the very particular style, action, punches, the sound effects, the costume, how he's utilizing his new gear, the wings, the shield, all that good stuff. It feels like Marvel. It feels like Captain America dialed up. Honestly, in the beginning, I kind of thought that he's a little overpowered. He doesn't have the super soldier serum, which gave Captain America his super strength, reflexes, all that stuff. Sam Wilson does not have that as the Falcon. So I think he balances out a little bit with some crazy upgraded Wakanda tech that he got. And the movie explains that in the beginning. He has the shield. He has the crazy, like nano vibranium wings that have the Black Panther treatment, where they can absorb the kinetic energy and then make like a massive energy burst. He does that. It's pretty cool. I think that was a way that they tried to balance it out. Otherwise, this guy's going to get killed pretty easily. So he's facing some big threats in this. There's some other challenges they face. Obviously, the Red Hulk. So that's kind of his upgrades in his new tech, which I do think he has a cool style of fighting. You see a lot more flying. You see aerial combat. I think probably the best action scene is one where it's involving some fighter jets in the sky, and it's with him and the new Falcon. And I thought that was pretty good. As a whole, the movie was entertaining enough. It's by no means one of the weakest Marvel movies. It's certainly not like Morbius, Madam Web. It's definitely a lot better than Kraven. On the other hand, this movie doesn't do anything new, and that kind of was a missed opportunity. Expounding on that in some of my criticisms, a lot of people have said, which I think is very accurate, this movie was really just a clone of The Winter Soldier and the plot in that movie. Great movie, but very much trying to play it safe, and I think Marvel in this film really kind of paid the price for that as far as what it could have been had it innovated more. I'm getting really tired of the mind control brainwashing trope. Again, Bucky and Winter Soldier. You see that here in different ways. Very much the play it safe mentality. I felt like that with a lot of the characters in the writing of this movie. You see Sam Wilson, I think he's good. I think Anthony Mackie does a good job. They try to do some good emotional things. He has a couple speeches. There's an interaction with another character. And it was just kind of a wasted opportunity. As soon as things get serious, Marvel always has this way of immediately killing the drama. Even when it's helping and the scene gets a little bit more serious, they always want to bring it back to comedy. And, you know, I get this because it's for kids and they want to keep things from getting too sappy or too emotionally heavy, but it really is to their movie's detriment a lot of the time. And this happens in a couple of the scenes where you're really trying to relate to what Anthony Mackie is saying as the new Captain America. And you're hearing about his burden, you're hearing about his mental struggles, his doubts, can he do this? And you're kind of seeing what other characters are telling him, and it's going in a good direction. And then a lot of times it just gets derailed by comedy. And Marvel movies always do that. I really don't understand, but they're so afraid to hover or remain in the drama. And I really don't get that. People like that. People can handle that. A lot of these characters, they're not new. They've been around for a long time. They need to get comfortable with having a little bit more emotional range and drama that these characters can portray, and not think that it's going to scare away their whole audience. Going back to the characters, it really was just recycled. It all really felt like that. You have the recycled Black Widow. You have obviously recycled but new Captain America. You have the recycled Falcon, who's definitely not trying to do anything new. I think Danny Ramirez as Joaquin Torres, and then Anthony Mackie as, you know, Sam Wilson. I think they have a good interaction. Their chemistry is pretty good on screen. That was decent. Red Hulk, another kind of missed opportunity. It was obviously a recasting of the regular Hulk, which was a wasted opportunity. I researched this. I watched a couple of YouTube videos talking about Red Hulk. He's a very different character. You see his origins, you see what makes him him, and he has different powers. He has a whole thing with the angrier he gets, he exudes more heat. He doesn't lose his intelligence. When he transforms, he doesn't become like the mindless beast. So he actually stays as this like very strategic general, and that's kind of something that he uses. All of that was really a wasted opportunity. He doesn't get a lot of screen time. You see the ending fight, and it was honestly pretty lackluster. I wanted to see more with it, but with kind of how you see the scales with Captain America versus the Red Hulk, he wasn't going to be able to do anything. He wasn't going to be able to stop this character. So they have the whole way of like, okay, how can we talk him down? I'm going to get into some of the spoilers now, which honestly aren't going to probably take away or change your experience with this movie. So there's the main villain in this. They bring back Samuel Stearns from the first Hulk, again with Edward Norton. And this guy was like the scientist, the researcher behind it. He was the one responsible for the Abomination. So you see him, and he had the effects of gamma radiation. He has like this giant swollen alien brain, and he's like a genius now, and he can predict everything, and like probability is his superpower. I just don't feel like it was a strong choice. I don't think the villain really did anything interesting. The end credit scene with him was pretty much pointless to watch. Say after the movie, you see these end credits, and this one didn't do anything interesting. Basically, at the end credits, he's in the prison after he gets caught. His plans are foiled, and he's saying, oh, there's other people are coming. You're going to be faced with other worlds. So what does that mean? Okay, are the new Avengers going to have another threat? Is it going to be the Fantastic Four, who are going to be in an alternate Earth? Are they going to come to Earth? Are there going to be other galactic level threats? Who knows? Again, this is all kind of the MCU struggle that I think they're really facing, is they keep trying to do the quantity over quality approach, and it is so painfully obvious. Everything that Marvel has been doing, for the most part, since the Infinity Saga ended, which was honestly a masterpiece, you're not going to be able to replicate that. You're not going to be able to eclipse that, really. They're trying to make everything sequelizable, to use that made-up word. They're trying to say, hey, how can we take more characters and then make movies from those, and then make spin-offs of those, and then do shows on Disney Plus, and then make their new Avengers group, and have them do this, and Thunderbolts, and the new Avengers, and this, and Fantastic Four. And they're always doing too much. Marvel needs to slow down. They need to focus on quality writing, quality characters, and stuff that people want to see, and do it right. Do justice to the comics, do justice to the source material, make them good movies, make them entertaining, don't overspend for no reason. And I think that's really a huge part of the problem. We've seen what they've been trying to do. We saw how the whole Sony Spider-Verse failed. God, don't even need to talk about that. How it ended with Venom and Kraven. Awesome characters, could have been so much better. But there was just no way that those movies were going to be successful the way that they were done and with what the whole plan was. It wasn't going to happen. I would have liked to see a more interesting, well-written villain. I think what they did with the Red Hulk was okay, but the character was just not given enough, and it was kind of an anticlimactic ending. Captain America gets him to calm down. He's like, hey, remember this? Like, remember the cherry blossoms. Remember where you're at. This is where you wanted to take your daughter. Liv Tyler does come back. You see her again as her daughter, Betty Ross, and it was nice to see her again. It's setting up for the next movie. They're very much looking like they're going to try to build a new Avengers, and they want Sam Wilson, Captain America, to put that together. And you're starting to see a few of the pieces of what this is going to look like. I'm going to be honest, I'm not that excited for it. They're trying to do another Avengers. They're trying to make this another 5 to 10 year thing. I don't see that going well. I think they need to be very careful about how they do these characters. I think they need to be really careful about how they try to fit these movies together and not just have each one be flop after disappointment after disappointment. So we'll see. Can you go see this movie? Yes. Is it entertaining enough? Yes. Is it one of the better Marvel movies? No. I would say it's about middle of the road, maybe a little bit below. Not a movie you're probably going to want to rewatch more than once, if at all. Worth seeing once. You can see it in theaters. You maybe want to wait till streaming. I think it's a safe bet either way. If you've been enjoying these videos, if you want to see more film reviews, please consider sharing this video, dropping a like, a comment. That helps me a lot as a new starting channel. That makes a big difference, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to be posting more content. I want to start getting into some fitness things, other things like that. If you've seen my shorts, you've seen me post some random stuff, some sketch comedy, and just some random things that I create. So again, I really appreciate it. If you're a fan of this, if you're a newcomer, please consider subscribing, share your thoughts. It really helps me. Thanks again.